The streets of Beirut are like this almost every night now. As dusk falls, the militiamen emerge to prosecute their seemingly endless war. There are weapons of every sort in this city, many supplied by or taken from the foreign powers that have dabbled here. Even anti-aircraft guns are used against densely populated areas. This is a much older conflict than the one being fought out in the Palestinian camps, and it's a conflict over what sort of a country Lebanon is. Christian or Muslim, Arab or European, allied to West or East. It has ripped the heart out of what was once one of the world's most beautiful cities. The streets that earned it its reputation for elegance are now the preserve of the men of the various militias. It's gone on for so long that a kind of normality has re-established itself among the ruins. No one pays much attention to the almost constant battle. And even at the centre of it all, the telephones still work. And in the wrecked buildings close to the Green Line itself, the point at which the Muslims and the Christians face each other, there are still families living. This city was once considered the financial and political centre of the Middle East, of crucial importance to the superpowers. Now, in the Parliament Square, they send a scout ahead of you to check for snipers.
This is the so-called Green Line that divides the two halves of Beirut. It's been here for a decade, and there's been fighting across these streets almost throughout that period. It isn't really a battle in the conventional sense, because neither side ever really advances. It is a killing ground, and it's become a symbol of the wider divisions in Lebanon as a whole.
There are 18 different religions in Lebanon, the four main groupings being the Christians, once the largest, and on the Muslim side the Druze, the Shiites, and the Sunnis. It was the collapse of harmony between them that led to the outbreak of the civil war 10 years ago. The Syrians came in then to try and stop it, and have controlled large areas of Lebanon ever since. That was the picture when the Israelis invaded 3 years ago. This is what they did to Beirut. Destruction on an altogether more comprehensive scale. It was as if they were trying to wipe the slate clean so that Lebanon could start again. They wanted two things: a Lebanon rid of the PLO, and a country run by a strong central government dominated by the Christians and friendly to Israel, not Syria. While they occupied Lebanon, a start was made rebuilding the country, but it didn't last long. The old Parliament building, symbol of the pre-war order here, was restored. Now it lies empty again. Sometimes the rebuilding was cut short by the fighting before the scaffolding even came down. And what the Israelis are leaving behind is precisely the opposite of what they wanted. A country more divided than ever and dominated by Muslims, not Christians. So why were the Christians the losers of the Israeli invasion and not the winners as they and the Israelis hoped? They still enjoy the good life in the hilltop villages of their northern heartland, and they encouraged the Israeli invasion because they thought it would shore up the dominant position they'd held in the Lebanese status quo. They regarded the mountains and the coast as their preserve and felt threatened by the growing power of the Muslims. Now the Israelis are going, they're still left with a constitution that dictates a Christian president, but Amin Gemayel runs the country in name only. Many of his people are under siege in West Beirut. Shops, banks and homes are sandbagged and barricaded. They lost for two reasons. Firstly, because they're no longer the biggest group in the country. They're now less than a third of the population. And more importantly, their opponents are far better armed than the Christian militia fighting to hold the Green Line here. After the Israelis invaded, Syria started pouring weapons into the country for the Muslim militias. Now the Christians realize they've lost, it's to the Syrians that they're turning for help. Danny Shamoun was once a militant Christian leader. Now he thinks they must look for at least some Syrian involvement to make a settlement possible.
Definitely, because the other parties are all sponsored by the Syrians. Their arms supplies, their weapons, everything comes through Syria, if not from Syria.
And for a settlement actually to work, would the Syrians actually have to come back to Beirut, do you think?
We don't wish the Syrians to come back to Beirut.
And you think a settlement could work without them?
Well, it either works that way or it doesn't work.
What would
the
happen?
Syrians are in the Bekaa. We hope that one day they will withdraw out of the Bekaa, let alone drag them down to Beirut again.
What would happen if they did?
Come down to Beirut? I think there would be conflict.
group who've taken the most ground from the Christians are the Muslim Druze. From their heartland in the Shuf Mountains, they've extended their empire down to the sea. Last month, the Druze took Jie from the Christians. The wreckage of the Christian military vehicles is still there. The Druze have always wanted a road from the mountains to the sea. Now their victorious militiamen are able to relax and fish here. They sometimes do it in rather an unconventional way. This man is snorkeling with 2 grenades held above the water. His comrades watch until he finds a shoal of fish. Walid Jumblat blames the war on the leadership of the Christian militia, the Phalange.
I want to stop the war. And I want to have a deal with the Christians, with honest Christians, but not with the Phalangists and not with the Lebanese forces, never.
So does that mean more war?
No. It's time for them to leave. Let Amin Gemayel leave this country and profit of this money somewhere in Switzerland. And let the bunch of killers like Hubayka and Jaja and others, also if they want, they can leave and go and live in Latin America, somewhere in Uruguay or Paraguay, where ex-Nazis are living.
That makes it sound as though another round of war, maybe the final round, is inevitable, is it?
I hope not. I don't know if it's final or not. I don't know.
Walid Jumblat knows that his power, like everyone else's in Lebanon now, is ultimately dependent on the Syrians. They still have large numbers of troops in Lebanon, and they choose which faction to arm. Now that the Israelis are going, the Syrians may try and impose a settlement on their terms. That would probably mean a divided, weak Lebanon, but a peaceful one. But even the Syrians can't always control their client militias.
The political scene changes here more quickly than almost anywhere else in the world. Alliances are made and broken within a matter of hours, and predictions usually turn out to be wrong. As one senior Lebanese politician put it to me, people think things here are planned and they try to analyse them. Often, it's just a question of too many people with guns. Edward Sturton, ITN, Beirut.